Welcome to Top Tier Underground, the podcast that brings together music and the voice of the artist that creates it. Today we have Kissay. Kissay is the artistic representation of Sam Kissay from Boise, Idaho. Sam's music is beautiful and melodic with a little bit of grit. Be sure to subscribe to Top Tier Underground to get all the future podcasts and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And now here's your host, Eric Finnegan.
All right, we're here with Sam Kissay. What's going on, homie?
All right, not much, man. Round two,
yeah. So the first time that we recorded, I lost it because I'm awesome with computers. And thanks for saving me, though. You totally have rescued me throughout this whole process.
Yeah.
I was like, when you taught me how to fix it, I think that I probably could have salvaged my old hard drive, because the problem that I was having was the problem that you, like, I don't even know how to explain it. It was when it was trying, or like, to assign it to a certain disk, to assign the software to a disk, you know?
Yeah, but we had to, like, you basically erased it and then did that, so it wouldn't have.
No, I mean, I put in a new hard drive and then we did that. But I think that if I would have just done that on my old hard drive, I would have been able to do that, because that's what it was saying was wrong, was like it couldn't find a disk. So, I mean, I don't know. It's like after the fact, but that was the problem that I was having with the other hard drive, was it wasn't assigning to a disk. And so I just thought the hard drive was broken. Well, I mean, and I took it to a computer shop and that's what they said too. But then I threw away the hard drive when I got the new one. And then it was like, once you showed me how to do it, I was like, oh, I probably could have done this on the other one. But yeah. So, oh, hang on. I just realized that I'm not using my microphone. Okay. So you are a music producer from Boise, Idaho. I've known you for a long time. Let's talk about your production and like how you got started.
Yeah, I got started from some friends that live here still, the Cangers. It's around the time we were trying to do a music festival called Neon Oasis.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it's a shit show, but I started hanging out with them because I knew how to do website stuff and was building them a website for the festival or whatever. And then they kind of just, one day I was over there, they sat me down in front of Ableton. And
how did you meet? How did you meet them originally? From the scene?
No, I went to high school with them.
Oh, okay. So before that, had you been in the music scene at all, or?
Not really, just because, I mean, I was a youngin' when I got in there, and so I had gone to like Tim Beck's little rave things at the Mardi Gras that he used to do, and
right.
But then I'd gone to like one of the decomps or something, and then didn't really know anyone though, except for some like close friends that I went to school with, and
oh yeah,
that's kind of what brought me into it and stuff. But yeah, I kind of made like 2 really shitty tracks and then didn't really do anything with it for like a year or 2, and then really started getting into it like 4 years ago.
Oh yeah.
So is what I would say, like maybe longer than that now. Time's weird, but
yeah, 4 years ago would be like around the time that we started throwing shows together, probably.
Right. Yeah, that is correct. Now that I'm thinking, because I look at it like I can look at it how long my relationship's been, because I was doing it right when we started getting together, and that's almost 6 years now. So
okay, yeah,
that's more normal.
Yeah.
Calling a blank.
So you started writing music, you wrote a couple shitty tracks, you stopped doing it for a while, then you got into it like 5 or 6 years ago. You got back
Yeah.
into it hardcore. What made you get back into it?
I just always I wanted to do it throughout the time I didn't do it. I've always been really good at not doing it. Like I'm really good at talking myself out of even like sitting down to work or do any of that stuff. And
I think everybody is, Sam. You're not special.
Yeah. So like in the last, I don't know, 6 years, I've made like maybe 10 tracks that I've released or something like that. Maybe it's a little bit more than that, but not as much of a workflow as I would have liked over the course of that time.
Right.
So it was just at some point I just started doing it more than waiting a 2-year break. I started maybe doing like 1 or 2 a year instead of waiting 2 years to do something.
Yeah. Well, if your progression keeps on going that direction, you'll start releasing one a day, you know, it just, it might take a couple years.
Yeah. No, I have built a habit for myself now. So I have like a really good workflow now. So
yeah.
I do stuff every day now for the most
Let's
part.
talk about that. What's your workflow now? Like how?
So I started doing this everyday thing that Chase Manhattan started. Basically, you do something creative every day. Even if you're not feeling creative, you kind of look at it like you're practicing. You're not trying to make something. You're just, if you don't feel like the spark to make something, you're still just practicing the stuff that you know how to do. So I kind of, for what I do as a job, I program and stuff. So I'm like in front of my computer pretty much 90% of my life. And so I was having trouble trying to work on music after I just gotten done at work for 8 hours on the computer. So I started waking up early, like an hour and a half earlier than I need to. And then I'll go work on music then, kind of like give my brain like, you just woke up, it's fresh, doesn't have anything else going on besides you just woke up from sleep. So I kind of started using that time, and I would just wake up, and some days I would make a little drum loop and that's all I could do, but I was still doing it. And other days I like flesh out a whole song in an hour, and I could kind of spark that. And but I don't necessarily, I have like a whole little template set up that I use for Ableton that kind of has like the basics of everything that I could need to start. So it's kind of just there and ready to go.
That's cool.
As soon as I open it, which is helpful.
Yeah, I'm so bad with that kind of stuff, like organization. But I've been learning on the new Ableton, like how to organize stuff better, you know, make things like the standard or whatever when you log in or when you sign in. And so that's cool. But I totally feel you on the, you know, being able to take long breaks so what's the hang up, do you think, like when you get stuck in a rut as far as writing music? Is it like progression, melody, drums? Like everybody has their own hang up, you know. What's yours?
Like what keeps me from like, I think it's more my brain than it is like my inability to write a melody or anything like that.
Well, I think that there's certain things though that people aren't satisfied with on their music, and that's what hangs their brain up. You know what I mean? Like for me, it's like fullness, you know, like making the track full. But I think that's kind of for everybody. Like there's always going to be a weakness, you know. It's So what do you think that your biggest weakness is when you write music?
I'd probably say sound design for sure.
Yeah.
Like that's like not my strong suit. For the most part, like most of like the stuff that I use, I'll start with a preset and then tweak it. But
Okay.
I'm not strong enough in my abilities to do that, to like start from like a blank operator or serum or something and then make something awesome.
Yeah.
But that's also why presets exist, and to kind of give you that starting point. So
yeah, definitely. I think that like what helped me with that, because I mean, I feel comfortable in operator, and now I've started like to use serum. I think Will was like, dude, you have to start using serum, like get out of operator. And so I started using or serum lately. But the thing that like with what I did with operator and now I'm doing with serum is start with a preset and then deconstruct it to try to see like what envelopes are making it do what, where they have the envelopes assigned, how they assigned the envelopes to that, and like just kind of take it down to bare bones. And that's something that, like, with Operator, that's what I did for a long time. And same with Massive. Like, I used to use Massive. I don't really use it anymore, but I think Massive is a great synth. I wish I used it more. It's kind of silly that I don't, but yeah, so like deconstructing synths is something that's always seemed to help with that. But I mean, I don't feel like I'm very good at making ambient sounds or melodies. Like, those are like my hugest weaknesses, is like, atmospheric sounds are so hard to make sound good. But so what's your favorite synth then? Is it Serum or?
I use Omnisphere a lot, and Serum for the most part. Those are kind of the two main ones that I use. I like Omnisphere a lot because it's insane. Like the instruments that are in there, like it's the recorded samples of the different like organic instruments and the stuff that you can kind of piece together to use with there. I think the install for the synth is like 80 gigs.
Wow.
Like it's giant, and like everything just kind of just sounds really good at the box, which is nice. But
that's crazy. I've been wanting to try it because I keep on hearing that one's great. Like Nico Luminous said he loves that one. Will said that he loves that one, and I talked to someone else who said that they loved it the other day, and I was like, all right, it's time to try it. But so
yeah, I think it's like $300 or something like that.
Oh, really?
If you buy it.
Yeah. What about mixing down and mastering? Do you do that yourself?
I don't. So that's actually been something that I've been working on through this whole process. Kind of felt like I needed to get that down, just because in this like last 2 months I've got like 8 new songs that I'm finishing. So it was a process that I needed to start working on because I had to do it 8 different times in a short amount of time. And I have a lot of the Waves suite, so I'll use a lot of that, and I just use Ableton's like stock EQ and stuff. But
yeah,
I've been trying to learn a lot about mix down techniques and like how to do that. But I don't, even if I got good at mastering, I don't know if I would want to do my own mastering, just because I feel like my ears are so used to the way that I want to hear it that it's not going to be mastered correctly.
I agree. I think that it's always good to sub it out to someone for at least mastering, if not mixing down and mastering. But I like to mix things down just because it's really hard. But then, I've always used Peter with Prismaphonic, and he's really good at bouncing tracks back and forth to make the mix down sound better. So he can like be like, okay, this is too hot. This is, this is going to clash. And then he always makes the tracks sound really good. So I don't know if you've ever used him, but.
I haven't used him for anything. I have, I like to use Safe Bari.
Oh yeah, that's the dude that, isn't he the saturated guy? Guy? Yeah.
I use him for like my more planned releases stuff, kind of like stuff that I have more like intent with and like want to send around to people and stuff. And then there's a guy in Hawaii that kind of just does good cheap mastering that I use for like quick little things when I need it done. And,
oh, really? Who's that?
Weaver Beats. I don't remember what Bloom Audio, I think, is what he does his mastering stuff as.
Oh, cool.
I think Cosmo and a couple other people have used him for a bunch of stuff. But
nice. That's cool. So take me through your actual writing process then. Like, what you said that you start out with the template, but what's the first thing that you like to go to?
Well, I mean, the template is essentially just a blank Ableton project, so there's not actually anything there except for just channels that are loaded up with the different instruments that I like to use.
Right.
So the weird thing is that like I don't necessarily write the same genre every time. I don't start the songs the same way every single time, but most of the time, I'll just open up and try and like make some like cheesy synth lead thing and start playing around with that till I have something that's like gives me a basis to write drums off of.
Okay.
I don't necessarily.
Yeah, that's what I was more so wondering, is if you start with drums or melody, because a lot of times that's like I start with drums. Most people, I mean, not most people, but a lot of people start with melody, or a lot of people start with drums. It's like, seems like it's either or.
I'm I do it both ways though. So a lot of the
really?
times it's like, I'd say like 60-40. I'll
Oh,
start
really?
with like synth to drum, kind of just,
Yeah.
and sometimes I'll start with like a pad. Sometimes I'll find a sample that has a nice melody and I'll just drop that into a Ableton rack and have it convert it for me and start with like it wrote a melody for me and kind of just not necessarily use that sample, but kind of give me like a starting point to
Sure. That's
do
cool.
stuff off of. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. And so who's your biggest like inspiration when it comes to music? Like who do you think that inspires you the most musically? I know that's a hard
tough.
one.
It's changed so much over the years. Like when I first started, I've kind of like kept the style that I've started producing bass music with. But like when I first started, it was Joker and Gutstar and Gladkill and stuff, and
Right.
That's kind of transferred into a mixture of that old Purple style and this new wave stuff that kind of like Plastician and them have been forefronting. And gotta think though, like Dead Crow's a big one just because he's
I like his music a lot.
and in that sense of it. And then that's, if I were to say that, that's like when I pull up a reference track, that's the one that his stuff's like what I'll pull in the most often out of it. But
nice, that's cool.
Just with the fact that I DJ so much and all the different types of music that I listen to, it's kind of just a mixture of all the stuff that I listen to more than at this point a specific artist.
Right. So what about when it comes to like playing shows? How do you like, what do you perform on and how do you get ready for a show?
So I perform on Tractor now. I've kind of gone through all the different things for it. I have like a little Z1. So it's like a 2-channel mixer that's just this little baby guy, and then the X1, which is just like a pause play cue / effects thing.
Okay.
So it's just super compact. I like to do it that way because I don't trust people's CDJs to go to a show and have them work unless I know who they are pretty well. So I kind of
Right. Yeah, I know. And I just had that show in Boise. The fucking CDJs quit working in the middle of the set. that was brutal. But I mean, that happens all the time. Not ever like that. A lot of times it'll happen where it'll just like start like the cue will be broken or something, and then it'll just start randomly playing. And so I'll like have to use the platter like a turntable, which is fine to start it, or something, which is fine. But yeah, just like that was like where it just shut off. That was like really frustrating because I've never had that happen before. So
so I mean, even if like I've played I don't know how many shows on CJs, like I'm fully comfortable and can do the same thing that I do on Tractor with CJs.
Right.
But if I'm planning on playing a show on CJs, I'll still have my shit with me just because I like to be prepared for all the scenarios. I have way too many thumb drives of everything, and then also have my whole laptop computer set up that I
right. Yeah, that's cool. So do you have any shows coming up or anything, or
I am playing a show with Alex in the beginning of February, which is under our
Alex
No Profit. It'll be under our new moniker that we do stuff under called Erratic. So it's kind of like a grime club music focused project. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
And then I am playing the show that I booked with Charles I of the Trees along with Josh Kanger.
Nice.
Just because I wanted to do like that centric music, which I like to think I kind of do, and Josh definitely does. Just kind of like fill up that night with all the producers and stuff. And
that's awesome, man. So Charles I and Of the Trees, those guys are awesome. I like Charles. His music's awesome. So what else is going on? What's going on in Boise? Like, how's the scene going down there and stuff?
I've kind of been uninvolved with it since I moved back from Portland. Like I'm still a part of it just from what I do with Connection, and we've done we did a show with Dirtwire, and now we're doing this one, and then we're also doing a connection takeover at Shreveport. So we're doing the librarian and Matt the Alien and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
During Shreveport. But other than that, I've kind of just been focused on my personal music. And,
trying not to play out as much, trying to focus on production.
Yeah, I've only played out twice since I moved back in March, I think.
Right. Cool. That's good. It's good to give yourself some air, you know?
Yeah.
Between shows.
Yeah, definitely. I went to school to go work as a programmer, and now I'm doing that, so that kind of takes up a lot of what I do during the weeks anyways, and just like heavily focused on doing all the stuff that I'm doing with Connection now too. So
what do you mean, like, for a programmer? Like, what do you do for work?
I'm a software developer, so I work for a company that I work on their app and their big website. It's I just write code all day and make things happen on the internet.
That's really cool. Do you ever like write stuff for yourself on like websites and stuff, or?
Yeah. I mean, I built my own website. I've rebuilt that thing I don't know how many times. I'm in the process of building Cosmo's new website.
Cool.
I do it freelance too for pretty much everyone. Also,
oh, really?
If anyone listening to this needs a website, I'll build you one.
Well, that's really cool because I need one. So yeah, so we should definitely talk after this because I need one for the one that I'm for this podcast actually. So I haven't launched it yet, but the podcast. But I was just gonna do it as I go. But if you want to do that for me, we'll talk after the podcast though. So
cool.
But so anyways, so you write websites, and what else do you do for fun? Just
for fun. Music is kind of what I do for fun in my spare time. I'm kind of lazy. I don't like to go hike or do anything like that. And
that's funny.
as Nicole calls me, she calls me an indoor cat.
That's so funny. I can see that.
But I should be more active just because I live a pretty sedentary lifestyle from sitting in the computer chair all the time.
Yeah, dude. You should start like, I don't know, like extreme wakeboarding or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've always liked I used to compete skateboarding as a little kid and snowboarding and stuff. And I want to do that more. But at one point in my life, I went from being 5'10" to 6'4", and kind of in like a very short amount of time, I just shot up and I grew out of all my snowboard gear. And it's been 5 years, and I just haven't like wanted to drop all the money to go buy all that new shit again.
Yeah, I love that. And up here, the mountains are so good, but I haven't gone this year. But so why don't you tell everybody where they can find you and how they can find your music and your website and your merch and all that shit.
Yeah, so my website they kind of all use the same URL code. So if it's Kissay music. So it'd be kissaymusic.com or soundcloud.com/kissaymusic or facebook.com/kissaymusic.
Okay.
Also on Instagram and also on Twitter, which I don't really use Twitter, but that's there.
I don't use Twitter either, but I really want to start because like dude, my Twitter for the other podcast, the Mind Melt podcast, has in like the last 2 weeks, I've gotten like 700 followers. And I'm like, you guys are going to be so bored because I never post shit on here.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I have 2 EPs that I'm releasing pretty soon. I have one that I'm self-releasing in
oh really
next month.
We should do a podcast before that release too. You know, we'll do another one before the release, try to promote it a little bit.
Cool. I'm in the little mix thing that's playing after this.
You'll have all the OGs.
I'll have all those in there. I had made a mix, but I'm going to redo it and kind of just see if I can piece together an all original stuff with.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, that's so cool.
And then another 4-track EP that I've kind of mixed down and self-mastered to the point that I could send it out to I don't know. I got a big list of labels that I sent it out to, trying to actually get something released by someone, and because I've always just self-released my music, which I've done pretty well with, just for doing that. But it'd be nice to.
Yeah. Well, I want to start like with Top Tier Underground. I want to start releasing like the artists that have been on the podcast. I want to like every quarter do like a compilation of original tunes by those artists. You know, I think that'd be really cool.
That'd be really cool.
So, I mean, not that that's down the road, but I was just saying, like, you know, if you ever want to release with us, but so
we're a band. Yeah.
So, well, and don't you have some merch though?
I do. Yeah, that's on my website. I got some shirts and a sweatshirt. I'm working on making some new leggings just for a new design and stuff, but I have all new logos and stuff that I'm doing, so I got to remake them.
You and Alex should come out with like a line of erotica shit, and it could be all sex toys with with your guys' logo on it.
It's erratic, not erotic.
Oh.
But that would still be funny.
That would still be cool.
It would still work.
It would still work. Erratic erotica.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like erratic, but it's kind of spelled French in a sense. It's ERRATIQUE.
Nice.
But kind of just the weird percussion patterns that we like a lot in there. It's kind of erratic, and it's kind of like how that kind of popped out for it.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying logos on handcuffs and like furry whips and all the fun things. But well, okay, I'm gonna pause this thing and then I'm gonna talk to you afterwards. Okay, so hang on, just hang out with me.
Thanks for listening to Top Tier Underground. That was Kissay. Tune in every Tuesday for a new episode.